community. I think we had quite a bit enough of this this music. Welcome to this Twitter space. Thank you for waiting. Today we'll be discussing about our latest roadmap updates. Today we have Samuel and Julien from the tech team that will give you the latest breakthrough and details explanation about what has been done and what is about to come. Guys, do you hear me? I think you can.
Yeah, hello.
Yep.
Perfect.
Hey, Victor.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep. Hello, everyone.
Shall we do a little intro about yourself, guys? So Samuel, the community know you. Julien, the community know you less, or Nailix, should I say? So could you maybe tell the community what is your role at Archethic and what do you do basically at Archethic?
Yeah, of course. So first of all, hello guys, and I'm happy to be there. So yeah, I'm Julien. I work with Archethic since 1 year, I think today. Tomorrow will be my 1 year birth. Yeah, I dive into cryptocurrency since maybe 4 or 5 years. First, I was attracted by the cryptocurrency and making money, everything, but quickly I dug into the technology behind the blockchain. I fall in love literally about blockchain. And now on Archethic, I'm a core developer of the blockchain itself, and also on other parts of the blockchain ecosystem, like the SDK to have interaction between DApps and the blockchain. And yeah, I'm part of the design also on of the security and everything to improve the consensus and the blockchain workflow. So, yeah.
So you do many things at Archethic.
Yeah,
as we can see. What about you, Samuel? Maybe a little reminder for the community.
Yeah, maybe less. Because yeah, so for me, yeah, I joined the project and the journey since 4 years ago. But what I'm really doing, it's to supervise. I mean, all the technology around all these projects, being finding solutions and find things that we can improve into the area, and also to disturb more global technologies aspects, but as well supervise the team and try to make it the most motivating place also in terms of technology, even internally or externally, and try to advocate all these parts. And so it is really great adventure that we can share. And thank you for having me tonight to discuss about I guess really interesting subject.
Well, it's a pleasure. And before deep diving into those very interesting subjects, so Samuel, you are the architect basically, and Julien is the core dev, to put it simply for the community. So let's dive into it. Let's first maybe have a little of a vision talk, if I may say. So it's an interesting point where we are right now after 4 years of research and development and 4 years of coding. We now have a fully functional layer 1 blockchain called Archethic. It's out there, it's stable, it's working, it's fulfilling like all the expectation that we drafted years ago in the white paper. So now let me tell you where we're going. Our first focus, as many of you know already, is the stabilization of the network. Samuel and Julien will give more details about that, but right now, and as you've seen, we brute force it, we pen test it, call it whatever you want. As we do it, we improve the number of nodes, the stabilization, and the industrialization of implementation of external nodes also. So we enabled with our atomic swap bridge the most fearless amongst you to have early accesses and to start building on Archethic blockchain before the masses. We will fine-tune it, every technical details. We were going to build the hype and open the infrastructure to the world with a multi-asset bridge in Q3. In the meantime, we will onboard as many as possible valuable partners to bootstrap this launch, which will happen in Q3. So to summarize what I just said, right now we have the mainnet, which is live and functioning. We are onboarding the right partners to aim for a big launch in Q3. Those who want to build something can do it using the atomic swap bridge to build DApps before we open it to the world. And in Q3, we're going to enable all the crypto communities, all the DGens, as we call it, to come, bridge liquidity to Archethic, and then do crypto and do blockchain, basically. If you look at all layer one with mainnet opening to the ecosystem with the bridge, multi-asset bridge, we have live examples right now in this market. If you look at Zika Sync, they got 120 millions TVL, total value locked in 1 month. Arbitrum recently also. So just letting the curious investors do their researches. So right now, anyway, let's get at it, shall we? Let's maybe focus on the roadmap to start with, which is the main focus and subject today. Just a little disclaimer before deep diving into each item. So we have quite a big roadmap, and Samuel and Julien will give you many details about it. So we took this approach because rather than having a small roadmap with only a few items that we were basically sure of ticking off each quarter, we wanted to give the community the vision that we had for the project. So we wanted the community to know that all the type of implementation that we wanted to have into the project. And it's true, some of the implementation we could not realize during this quarter. Nevertheless, when you go on the roadmap, you can see that each item has been ticked when it's completed, and the items that have not been ticked have been let in the quarters that has been passed, which means we don't modify the past roadmap. We only modify the future roadmap in order to respect the transparency that we always had with the community. So now that's clear for everyone. Maybe we shall all open Archethic website and go on the roadmap section. And from that, we could look at what has been accomplished to start with, and then in this Q1 2023, and then we'll be able to switch to what will be accomplished in the future. So just in terms of ecosystem, Samuel, Julien, if I may start with the ecosystem. Foundation website. So this is Sylvain, alias Red Dwarf, that is in charge of this item. So as you may know, we announced that the foundation will be realized last quarter. It took a bit of delays because of legislation procedures and the fact that now our foundation, I can say it, is in Switzerland. We will do the main announcement about that in a few days or weeks, shall I say, but this is alpha that I'm dropping right now, so enjoy it. So the foundation is realized, and the website linked to that is on the next steps about the list of website refund that we're going to do right now. Talking about website refund, I can address also the Archethic website. As of some of you may know, we are doing a full rework of the website. It was a demand of many of you and many partners also to just create something more simple, sharper. And the Transact deployment will be linked not to the website redeployment version 2, but will be linked actually to the DEX that will be launched on the mainnet in Q3 after the bridge deployment. Why? Because we want people to be able to buy native UCO with credit card directly on the mainnet. So that was the explanation why you don't find those little tickers in front of the foundation website item and the Archethic website transact deployment item on the roadmap in Q1 2023. So now about the blockchain. So guys, maybe this is the interesting part. Maybe Samuel or Julien, you want to explain the items to the community and what does it do basically?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So, so in terms of blockchain, yeah. So as you might see on the website, so a few things have been achieved. Really interesting stuff, but in different subjects. So we have of course since the launch of the mainnet, since from the last winter and start of this year, as well as you remember, we started a faucet campaign that we gave some free UCO, let's say, to experiment and to test also all the entire system. And so it was really great experience. We learned a lot, we improved a lot. It helps us to achieve better scalability, better performances, to stabilize also more the network at this given point of time. And so we were able also, based on that and based on the usage of, your usage, to really improve and to stress more the network by adding new nodes, new user, new usage, token transfers, UCO transfers, this kind of stuff, AEWeb deployment. So this was really a good thing. Along that, we also started to work on few significant improvements, such as smart contract enhancements. So which means like we were planning to deliver and to produce a new smart contract interpreter, which will be more user friendly, better to use, with much more capability into it, to bring even more adoption and to create really good DApps and disturb even more the entire ecosystem. But along that as well, we work on more, let's say, core feature, which will improve the overall ecosystem. So in order to make the system faster, to have better TPS, transaction per second, better throughput, we also achieve something which we are calling network coordinates into our BeaconChain. So our BeaconChain is just a layer helping to supervise our sharding model, but also to supervise node capability, to supervise nodes, and to make the system even more reliable. And so in that sense, we were able now to fetch data faster by targeting only the node which are networkly, let's say, based on the latency, closer. So which means like if we need to fetch some data, we will not need to fetch the data from the eastern part of the planet, let's say, even if we still keep the distributed and decentralization, we just make sure like we will try to optimize the data retrieval. So this is one point. And another important point is also towards on-chain governance. So we're able to improve and to set up, let's say, organization workflow to make sure like we can propose new change to the protocol and also make them possible to auto-upgrade the network in a seamless fashion with less manual intervention, and to propagate updates across the network almost in instant time. So this was one particular point. Another point where we worked, and this is more involving community, let's say. It's about AEIP. So AEIP, it's Archethic Improvement Proposals. So it's just some document which we ask our team contribute, but also we encourage you also guys to propose stuff. Of course, it's every time a community work with consensus, we share ideas and comments, and so we establish few new AEIPs, which is really nice and trendy right now. So let's take one which is coming also with the trend of Vitalik, which is SoulBound token. So this is just a new kind of IAP. We just make sure like the token cannot, a token which is assigned to you cannot be transferred. So let's say for more legal purposes, tokenization, but for other kind of stuff that you want to, the asset is only belonging to a certain person and stay there and cannot sell this kind of stuff. But also, yeah.
I think maybe it would be interesting to explain what is AEIP to the community. The fact that it's a standard in the sense that AEIP is, please.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. So AEIP, as mentioned, Archethic Improvement Proposal. So it is a way to propose new stuff into the ecosystem. So there is different aspect of it. There is some organizational, let's say, workflow or methodologies that we can bring. There is a standard which are more based, let's say, for applications. Let's say, for example, the token standard, which have been released a bit before the mainnet, which is now used in application in the wallet and other stuff. There is different kind of standard which are proposed. I think for now we are around 10 AEIP or 11 AEIP, which are covering different stuff. Some more protocol, some more based on SDK and client application. So this kind of proposal is following some workflow from the submission until the review, and after that, after an application which can stay a few time, of course. So it can happen weeks or even months when the proposal can be approved and completely implemented. But we are following this kind of workflow to make sure like we're opening the most suggestions as we can.
So actually, I think it's important to underline the fact that those AEIPs that we guys are developing are actually in collaboration with the community. That is the aim of those AEIPs. Basically, we are developing a product for you guys, the blockchain, and we are asking through the AEIPs the community to say, let's say we have an AEIP which is about the smart contract language. We are developing the smart contract language, and then maybe we don't know that one member of the community needs like this kind of implementation for this use case. And because we cannot cover all the use case in the initial contract, AEIPs are the way for the community and the project to collaborate, work together for the project to deliver something which is completely fitting the needs of the community. And this before we didn't have much traction on the AEIPs because also, as you said, you have to go on Git, for example, and propose something. But this is something that any member of the community can look into it, see the different AEIPs that we have at Archethic, and say, okay, no, maybe on the smart contract, I think they should do this, and that differently because of. And then you push your proposal, and the proposal could get accepted. That's, I think, a good point to make for the community to be incentivized and rewarded into taking action with us, with you guys, with you, Samuel, with you, Julien, to help you develop the blockchain Archethic.
Yeah. Thank you, Victoria, for detail.
And so because you gave us so many details and valuable information right now for those 4 points, if we just resume in one sentence, I know this is very hard, each of the different points, because it was very interesting, very technical, but that's why we need to always resume. So what you were talking about smart contract enhancements, right? So you're saying that we're making a language which is the most user-friendly language in terms of smart contract development that you can find on the market. And we're getting closer to that and closer. I think Julien shared some alpha on the Telegram at one point.
Yeah.
Okay, that is clear. The second one, on-chain governance and hard reload, you were saying that the system now, the blockchain, is autonomously reloading herself.
Yeah, in some sense, it's a great way toward decentralized organization, and also helping improve the network in seamless way, let's say.
Yeah, it's a little step towards the DAO.
Yeah.
I
mean, it is a technical, really most complex technical part of the DAO. So, so the next maybe different.
Definitely, don't lose me here. Definitely, let's say in the summary, it's perfect. On the BeaconChain network coordinates. So basically, you are saying that before having to reach, because with the sharding, which means we cut the data in many pieces and we put the data all over the world, rather than having to search for the data, which is maybe in Greenland, for like your transaction, with those optimization of coordinates, you can now get the data way more closer, which means that the data is more instant and more fresh in that sense.
Yeah, sure. So we have distribution of node based on the world, let's say physically, but now we have also distribution of node based on the network capacity, let's say. And so by this way, we can, as you mentioned, fetch data with more closest location, let's say, which makes the system faster at the end.
Okay, very clear. And the AEIPs, we just talked about it. Thank you. I'm trying to play the, I'm new to this, so at least we have a full vulgarization of what you guys are doing, because this is where is the value. And a lot of times we are in the crypto space, we are losing value because people don't understand what is being developed. And here, what is being developed is very promising and should be able to be shared and communicated with. So yeah, that's why I'm just repeating a little bit. Sorry for the long timing, but I think it's necessary and interesting for the new community members, let's say, or not the tech guys that we have here. So yeah, I'll let you continue basically, and let's go on.
Yeah, sure. So I will just close a little bit about the many interesting stuff that happens on blockchain side. But yeah, as mentioned, AEIP. So again, welcoming you to participate, to see, to comment if you maybe you want to share something or don't understand something. We're also here to help to make the community understand better why these kind of things are important. So yeah, as mentioned, different AEIP, SoulBound token, the ID verifiable credential. So this is really a key point for complete decentralized identity, just to assert something about you in a trusted way and decentralized way. But among that, we worked also, as mentioned in the last tech update, about some developer tools, let's say, which help. So of course, start of this year and a bit before during the winter, we released the AEWeb solution and also AEWeb GitHub Action. So it's been like for developers which are using GitHub for the website, they can still leverage this tool to deploy right away to Archethic. So it's just a bit of snippet to do, and the website will be deployed. So do not need to have external tooling that we have also, but just it will be direct integration into GitHub. So for developers which are using that to manage their website, it's a really integrated way to have decentralized websites.
So this is huge. Basically, before when you had to go to the CLI of Archethic and do everything from scratch, now you can, if you already use GitHub to deploy your website, you can just do it from GitHub on Archethic, basically.
Yeah, completely. And also the part of it, we wanted also to work and to make also secure websites. So when you go on the website, you see a little lock into it, just saying like the website is secure. And so we wanted also to bring this capability on chain. So websites that you are deploying either with CLI or with GitHub have the capability to make them secure. So we are managing this kind of stuff. We didn't tick completely this aspect because there is still things that we wanted to do in terms of automation of certification. And we are still working on it to try to find the best way for you guys to not have to maintain that too hard or too often, let's say. And this is really an important point in web hosting and decentralized websites, because here we are making the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 with centralized websites hosting, let's say, and domain website hosting, and Web 3 on-chain decentralized website. So we are mitigating this kind of gap by doing that, and we are working to provide a better automation out of it.
So the comparison with Web 2 would be HTTPS basically, and Web 3 is what you are doing right now, right?
Yeah, I mean we are trying to do the both. So let's say if you go to archethic.net, you will see the website is HTTPS. And it has been that it has been certified. This domain has been certified by an authority, and so if we would like to deploy websites on chain, let's say through AEWeb, when we will fetch the data is not anymore on a centralized server like it might be on other websites. So at this point, the certification authority doesn't know really if you host this domain, because maybe some attacker could say, okay, this is my website, but finally not. So we are trying to mitigate a bridge between the two worlds, between the centralized authority and the data which is on chain, which is not anymore on centralized server. And so at this point, we're able to make a link to prove like you own a domain, let's say, but the secure part of the website is delivered from the blockchain itself. So this has been achieved during this quarter, let's say. So now you can enjoy HTTPS websites with Archethic hosted website, let's say.
Okay, thank you for clarification.
Yeah, and maybe last was the point in terms of tooling that we're working also on other kind of SDK. So for now we have Dart SDK, which is building on top of the wallet. We have JavaScript SDK, which is well known for Node.js or web, and used also in AEWeb, for instance. But we are also bringing also another part of the community on Web3 community, which is on Golang. So we are bringing also this SDK, which is available on GitHub, and we are also building a CLI, which will help not only for AEWeb but a general purpose CLI for Archethic. So you would be able to connect to your keychain, to your wallet, create transactions from it, deploy tokens, send funds, deploy smart contract also from the CLI. So this kind of stuff is and will be continued to be maintained by the core team to make a better adoption also of the developer community.
A lot has been going on.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can see.
Yeah.
How are you sleeping? Not much, I can imagine. Okay, thank you very much for this
Thank
in
you.
details explanation of all the blockchain part. I think it should be Red Dwarf on the wallet, but he could unfortunately not come tonight. So Julien took the lead and made him a favor basically. So Julien, it might be over to you.
I get paid by him, but just don't have to say it.
In UCO, I hope.
Yeah. So yeah, so I understood that I had some mic issue, so I changed the mic, and I hope it's better now.
Much better.
Yeah, cool. So for the first quarter, we had also some goals for the wallet, and the most important goal for the first quarter was the interaction and the interoperability between the wallet and the DApps. So what does it mean? So all of you knows, and I hope you use DApps. And when you use the DApp, you basically go on a website and you use the DApp, the interface, and so at the time you have to sign a transaction and send it into the network. And to do so, the app has to communicate to an external wallet to sign the transaction, where in the wallet you have your private key, or maybe the wallet is connected to a ledger, so you have the key in the ledger, but the wallet is the interface between the ledger and the apps. So the most used wallet is MetaMask, actually. But MetaMask is only for EVM blockchain, like Ethereum, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, and Arbitrum, and a lot of them. And so for the apps built on Archethic, we have to provide a way to sign the transaction using a secured wallet. And so we developed using the wallet, which is currently developed also on Android and all the platform, because the wallet is developed using a multi-platform framework. So one code base can run the wallet on the smartphone, but also on Windows, Linux, or macOS. And so we decided to use this application to communicate directly with the apps. So you don't need to have a wallet extension on your browser anymore. And this is also a choice, because if you have a wallet extension, it means that this extension is also based on the browser you are using. And if the browser has a security issue, your wallet in the extension may also be compromised. And so we are removing this extension. So now the apps on your browser directly communicate with the application on your computer, where all the data are securely stored. So yeah.
So to give an example, for example, like on EVM chain, on Ethereum, we use like MetaMask to connect to a DApp, which is Uniswap, and we sign a transaction to do a transaction, let's say. So because we cannot connect from our wallet to Uniswap yet, that's not, well, we had to rebuild the framework, as you said. And when you rebuilt it in a way that for MetaMask, you have an extension in browser. Everybody use it. It's built like this. It's called a hot wallet. On our side at Archethic, you said that we design it in a way that you will have a native interaction with the dApps. So you won't be vulnerable to the hacks linked to the browser, for example.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So in fact, if you want to use, let's say, the Archethic Uniswap, you will have to install on your computer the Archethic wallet, and from the Uniswap website, you will directly have a communication through the Archethic wallet installed on your computer. It also works on your smartphone also, so you will be able to use your browser in your browser in your smartphone, and it will pop up the Archethic wallet of your smartphone when it needs to sign a transaction.
Okay, very clear. Thank you.
So that was the big part for the wallet. This is actually used by the AEWeb. So if you go a bit on the down, you have the AEWeb Front first release. So this is the first application that use the interaction and the interoperability with the wallet. So the AEWeb Front release is it's a beautiful interface made by Sylvain to manage the website you deployed on AEWeb, because actually AEWeb it's only a CLI. So CLI it's a terminal. You have to open a terminal and input commands that will deploy your website on the on Archethic. But actually the only functionality is to just like upload your website on Archethic, and then you're able to see it in your browser. But to manage more a website, you have to have other utilities. Let's say to consult the file of your website which are uploaded in Archethic. You may want to download them if you change, let's say, a computer. You work on the first computer and you upload your website, and you go on another computer. You need to have the same code base, so you can download it. You can also update easily the file. So if you have to do a quick fix because you have a, let's say, a typo issue, or I don't know, you can update only one file, and this will be provided by a beautiful interface. And so this interface is communicating through the wallet with the interoperability communication. So yeah, so that's why also the AEWeb Front release is not ticked for the first quarter, because the requirement is the interoperability with the wallet, and this took more time than expected. So we are a bit late on AEWeb Front release.
No, it's important to explain each point, because basically it's not that the item was not started, it's that we are continuously improving the item, and that we want to fine tune it before taking it, as it would be ready for adoption from the Web3 communities and ultimately Web2 communities.
Yeah, that's it. And if I think that Sylvain just shared a little screenshot of the front interface on his Twitter account. So if you go on Red Dwarf account, you can see a little peek of the interface of AEWeb. That's cool.
It's a shame we cannot share the screen here, but at least the community can can go and see, basically.
So following the point, the other ticked point is the Linux version. So now you can install the wallet directly on Linux and it works. So I believe there is some quick fix again to do, but it works well. So now it's cross-platform. You can use it on smartphone. You can use it on Android, iOS, Mac OS also, and Windows and Linux. So everywhere you are, you can install the wallet. That's cool. And then the third point that are not ticked. So I will start with the bridge UCO integration. So the first idea we had is to put inside the wallet directly the bridge integration, but afterward we decided to do just a one-way bridge firstly. And because the main interaction you have with the one-way bridge is to sign transaction on Ethereum side or Polygon and Binance Smart Chain, we cannot do it from the Archethic wallet. So there is no utility to it's not even possible to add it into the wallet because we cannot communicate through the Archethic wallet with, let's say, MetaMask extension to do the bridge. So that's why it's not ticked.
So we will tick this item basically when we will have the two-way UCO bridge.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Afterward, there is the secured instance messenger. So it's not ticked because unfortunately it's not finished yet. But all the specifications are done. So by specification, I mean the workflow of a message and the communication when you want to communicate with other people or with a group of people. And so, yeah, the specification is done. So we know how to send a message through a transaction. We interact with a smart contract that will store some information about a group of people that want to communicate each other. So the specification and are done, and the development is in progress actually. And
So that means that you can basically exchange messages encrypted on chain, like you can see on Etherscan. Sometimes in the transactions you have a message encoded into the transaction. This is similar.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But of course, the message will be encrypted. So even if it's if the message is can be seen publicly on the Explorer, it will be encrypted, so you don't understand it, and only people allowed to read this message will be able to.
The
It's a cool
opposite of
proof
Facebook,
of
then.
yeah, that's it. It's a cool proof of concept because it's stored in the blockchain. You know, it's not like let's say even if WhatsApp or Telegram are secure, all the messages are stored on centralized server. So even if the centralized server cannot read the messages because you have the key on your computer to read this, with this mechanism, there is no centralized server that stores the message. Everything is in the blockchain.
So we have here a fully decentralized communication service using messages, basically.
Yeah. And it's the first step to go forward to go furthermore afterward to mail. So the decentralized mail. So this is the first layer to have the first communication, and
Yes.
and all the mail will be based also on this kind of communication, which are done in the instant messenger.
Okay.
And the last item is the NFT collection in the wallet. So NFT collection, it's actually there is two ways to create, let's say, a collection. You can create an NFT inside one transaction, and if you want to create 10 NFT, you can create 10 transactions. So it's kind of collection because they are all linked by a theme, for example. But in terms of blockchain, it's not really a collection because all the NFT are minted in different transactions. But with the AEIP number 2, which is the description of the token standard on Archethic, we have a way to create multiple NFT inside one transaction directly. And so you just send one transaction to the network, and then you will have, let's say, 1,000 NFT created. And all this NFT are linked because they are generated from the same transaction. But to do so, we have a specific format for creating those NFT, and this format needs to be handled by the wallet to be properly displayed on the NFT pages.
That's a very important point because it had many discussions in the communities on Telegram and on Discord, basically, because when we launched, people were creating NFTs and NFT collections, but those NFT collections were not NFT collection because in the blockchain view, they were not deployed in the same transaction. It's like if you go on Ethereum and you meet 1, 2, 3, 4, you have a link because of the keychain, but the OpenSea on Archethic will not be able to transcript that. The collection that will be transcribed on the OpenSea will be the one that have been minted all in one transaction. And we actually have the first NFT collection that has been minted that way, which was Key Zero, if I remember. We had a blog article in partnership with them. Okay.
So yeah, that's it. And also the wallet will also provide a functionality to create a collection directly in the wallet. So you will be able to create a collection from the wallet, so directly with one transaction but multiple NFTs.
Well, because this is also a big one for the people doing a bit of Web3 and a bit of NFTs. Basically, within this DApp, they will be able to put all the images, put all the different criterias, and you will have an inbuilt in the wallet, an inbuilt generator of collection. This is like things that on Ethereum, for example, you need to code and you need to have the different drafts and you need to superpose it with specific softwares. Here you have an inbuilt NFT generator, collection generator.
Yeah, and this is also linked with the last DApps title of the first quarter, which is the NFT collection generator. So it's not just let's say you have all your, if you want to create a collection of picture, you have all your picture and you create one NFT by picture. This is this go a bit deeper in the collection. So we all know, I think, the Bored Ape, the Bored Ape, which are like monkey with different assets on their face, so different hat, different A, different mouse, etc. And the NFT collection generator is basically you have all your different assets. So the A's, the hat, the mouse, the nose, and the collection generator will scramble all this asset and creating multiple randomized image, upload all these images using AEWeb, and then create one transaction with all the created images. So all the NFT will have a link through to the AEWeb transaction where all the images are stored. So in that way, you can, if you are a creator, create all your assets, and the NFT collection generator will do the rest. So creating the final image, uploading them on AEWeb, and afterward create the NFT on the blockchain.
So you're saying that, okay, I have the Archethic wallet on my phone. I open the Archethic wallet NFT collection generator. I go to my library. I pick X number.
Actually, the NFT collection generator is not part of the wallet.
Okay.
It's again a CLI application, so you need to use the terminal to use it.
Okay.
But this will maybe in the future import in the wallet. I don't know, or maybe we will be able to create a front interface like for AEWeb to just have a proper display of the generation instead of a CLI.
I see. This was a little sneak peek into the future. Fair enough.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. Guys, the Archers, the reason like we go in depth right now in every point that you just explained beautifully, Julien and Samuel, is because most of the times when those information are written down in blog articles, tech updates, it's always harder, let's say, to assimilate and understand all those improvements and all those accomplishments. So here we have a verbal explanation of each item that we hope will give a better vision to our community on what you guys are doing. So yeah, Julien, if that's it for this part, maybe I take back the lead and go to the Q2. So right now, this was what have been accomplished last quarter in Q1 2023. So now let's look at what will be accomplished in the next quarters. And this is where also the roadmap update take place, because we did change a few things, and so let's go through them basically. In terms of ecosystem, as stated before, we're gonna open the infrastructure to the world in Q3. In the meantime, we want to build a strong hype around Archethic, and to build a strong hype, we had the feedbacks of partners and community that we need to fine-tune the white paper, the website, the tokenomics. So basically, in terms of white paper, we're going to rebrand it. We're going to merge it with the token economics paper. We're going to include the details about how is the mining functioning and what is required and all the details about the mining. So you will have one white paper, including all the details, actual white paper content, all the tokenomics content, and all the mining contents, let's say. So this rebranding is ongoing. As long, in the same time as the rebranding of the website, we wanted to do something which is more simple, more direct, more pure, in the sense that we have a lot of information right now on the website, and we had many feedback saying that in the end, and we can see it on many projects in the field right now. When you look at the big projects, if I take, for example, Elrond, Multiverse X right now, maybe you have 20% of the community that understand the technical aspect of the project, and 80% of the community which are there for the vision that has been shared eloquently and smartly on the website and all the different information disposals. So that's why we aim to do this rebranding. We want to shape the vision of the project to be as simple and understandable for our community, without also diminishing the potential of what we are building here. So that's what we are doing right now in terms of ecosystem. In terms of partnerships, so basically, when we're going to open the infrastructure to the world, there will be a bridge multi-assets, and it means that the people are going to be able to bridge not only UCO to the mainnet, but also Ethereum. And so if you bridge Ethereum to the mainnet and you bridge UCO, well, let's say that you need a way for you to actually exchange the value that is on-chain. And this is why we will have a partnership with a DEX, which will be the first DEX on Archethic, which will simply enable Archethic users and Archethic DApps developers to create value and retrieve value from the mainnet. The second partnership that we will do is the market maker one. Basically, every DApps that's going to launch on our mainnet is going to need the same thing that all the dApps need in the crypto ecosystem. They're going to need market makers. They're going to need people doing filling the order books, if I may say, or manage the liquidities on the different pools. And so this is why we're going to onboard valuable partners that will be able to provide their services to all the dApps that are going to come and develop on our blockchain. So let's say you come to develop the Uniswap of Archethic, or if I may say, you come to develop the Uber of Archethic, and then you need a DEX where you're going to list your token. You need market makers that are going to handle the management of your liquidity pool. You need a place where maybe there is an active community of people that wants to invest. So you're going to maybe talk with a LaunchPad and say that you're going to do a little fundraising on the LaunchPad to create hype and raise funds through the LaunchPad. So those are the kind of partnerships that will bring on. Not stating here, like, for example, an NFT marketplace, lending protocols, like this list could go way longer, because if you take a new ecosystems, the number of different use cases that go transversal from other ecosystem is tremendous. But this is basic partnerships that will just enable Archethic ecosystem to start and to thrive, creating value for the users and the dApps creators. So that's that for the ecosystem and the partnership part that we are working on right now. In terms of blockchain, I will give it back to you. I think it's Samuel or Julien again. I don't know.
Yeah, we share a bit this part. what I wanted to talk you about this Q2 in terms of blockchain improvement or let's say evolution. Let's say we are working and close to complete something really interesting in terms of adoption for the protocol, which is not gamification. So it has been research and development for a few months, and the thing is, on Archethic, when you are a validated node, so a node which has been selected by the network based on the geographical distribution, based on the requirement of the network, if the network needs more validation or this kind of stuff, you are getting some recurrent rewards. So each day you get some UCO, which is for now around the equivalent per month around $50. So which means that you are getting some UCO every time. But now, because the network needs also more let's say stabilization in terms of infrastructure, in terms of geolocalization, in terms of availability, we are also opening a gamification model in such a way, like being in a certain part of the world and during a certain amount of time to maintain the stability and the strength of the network. You will be rewarded a special reward for that, according, as mentioned, from a given time or from a given place to make it more like an incentivization for a new joiner to be rewarded in some places which are not covered and which will make more decentralization, data security, and data availability.
Yeah, because this is very important in the sense that if you took the map world, the map right now, and you see that all the nodes that we have are in, like, let's say 3 countries, then you want a fully decentralized network. And it's important to cite the difference here, because the way we work, and you will explain it better than me, is that the criteria for the nodes to do an efficient work is the bandwidth. They need to have good connection to validate the transactions and do everything else. And they need to be sharded in the sense of geographic shard. So they need to be in different places for the data to be displayed, not in a centralized place, but all over the world. So in that sense, let's say if you see that the network is a bit too centralized in Europe, let's say, you will put rewards, incentives for new nodes popping up in Australia, let's say. And then for a specific amount of time, there will be a super bonus for all the nodes like being up in that area. Am I right?
Yeah, sure. So for instance, if you say like the centralization it's onto the Europe, let's say for a certain amount of
I think you're on mute, Samuel. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. So so I was saying like even right now, you see, if we take the supposition, let's say the hypothesis like maybe the network might be centralized in Europe. If a node wants to join the network, if there is not really TPS spike, really huge requirements from the network might say, okay, I have enough node into this localization, and we do not need more node because firstly it will create more work for the network to maintain the synchronization of this node, and it will not really bring really more decentralization, let's say. So in that sense, we can apply a certain reward to say, okay, go to Australia, or go to the US, or go to the Greenland. You see, so with this kind of stuff, we are creating an incentivization for decentralization, kind of.
And it's important to state that this incentivization of nodes will be on chain. It's not us that will say, okay, we need node there, and we decide to say yes to those nodes and no to those nodes. It's basically, the network totally autonomously that will do an on-chain selection and reward of the needs that it has, basically.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
Another point that I wanted to discuss, in the roadmap, it's mentioned FIDO2 and WebAuthN. So this is something maybe new for you. It's something really trendy.
Totally.
So it's also one of the main motivation of the first Universe project. So be the only key. So the point is those two standards are standard developed by W3C, and which are ways to be able to authenticate to websites without giving a password based on cryptographic key. So right now, the most advanced, let's say, system which are using this kind of stuff, it's Apple. Apple use this kind of mechanism to authenticate devices, let's say. So in Safari or even in Chrome now, and also on the Apple system, you can log in without proving like you own a Mac, let's say. It will just connect from the hardware, and it will just detect like it's you and it's your only account. And this kind of stuff make Web3 into Web2 websites possible. And this is one of the most first motivation of this project, to avoid password, kind of. So thanks to the keychain integration, we are building a way to connect websites through your wallet and define a different key. Let's say you want to connect to Gmail, Facebook, Amazon, and you will just mention which service you want to use, and when you connect, the website will request some confirmation, let's say, from your wallet, and you will be logged into Gmail or Amazon, kind of stuff. So you don't need anymore to remember any password. You might maybe have an email because they might send you email, but you don't have any more password to manage. And this is possible through the standard of FIDO2 and WebAuthN. This kind of mechanism exists also on hardware. So let's say if you have a Yubikey, you can use it as an authentication way. Even right now on some website, you can do it. But for us, we want to extend it into Web3, into blockchain, to say like your wallet become an authenticated device, an authenticator way of connecting websites.
Yes,
so this is
your wallet is your decentralized identity, basically. And with this decentralized identity, you can connect anywhere without using passwords, and it's on-chain and fully decentralized compared to what we know with Apple, how they are doing things right now, basically.
Yeah. So it was every time motivation. Even when we designed the keychain, it was also in that direction. So now it's great that because a big company tech are doing it, and we will collaborate also in that sense to make it more collaborative and maybe seamless, because there will be less disturbing behavior as it's becoming a standard more and more. Another part that I wanted to talk after I will let you, Julian, talk about some stuff. It's about what we name Archethic name series. So if you know a bit Ethereum world, so there is something called ENS, Ethereum name series. So it's just an aliases mechanism where you can say, let's say, Samuel .eth and it points to your Ethereum address or that kind of stuff. And we wanted to also bring this kind of feature into Archethic because it's something really painful to remember addresses. Even in the wallet, we have capability to have contact. It's really it is really great to be able to book some name in decentralized way and to be sure it's entitled to you. And so we are also working on this model to make this possible for aliasing, but not only aliasing a name and a value, but just a name based on different contexts of value. Let's say you want a name and you want it to point to your wallet just to receive funds, fine. But maybe you want also your name to point to a website hosted on a web, let's say, or you want a name pointing on different kind of areas. And so this will be possible through the ANS systems to be able to make transfers and exchanges into the network easier without having to remember all the hexadecimal characters. Let's see.
And what about just to give an example, is like when you go on Ethereum and you have like victor.eth or archethic.eth, that's a domain name that you can buy and then you can interact within the ecosystem. You have the same on arbitrum.arb, etc., etc. So it will be the same kind of name servicing on Archethic, right?
Yeah, it's totally. So yeah, the same behavior as is existing in other protocol, mostly in EVM right now. But yeah, so we are bringing that to Archethic. Yeah. Okay. Maybe Julian, if you want to enter the other subjects.
I can follow and take the other points. So the other major point we have to do is also the network industrialization and stabilization. So in a sense, the stabilization is not a key point because it's done all over the time. Every time we have to ensure the stability of the network. But on this quarter, this is the a big point because we want to allow people to run their own node to themselves, because actually the nodes are deployed by ourselves, because we need again to get some metrics, some logs, and to ensure everything is working before allowing people to run nodes. So once the stabilization will be finished and the industrialization will be finished, also the industrialization is the like you can install a node on every hardware you want, because actually it's depending on your hardware, the node may not work, or the installation may have some issue, and so the industrialization will provide like only one way to install, and it will work on every system you are using, mainly based on Linux, but so this will ease the installation of people, and even people without technical knowledge will be able to run a node and to be part of the network without being a tech guy using CLI and typing command into a black screen.
So stabilization, it's ongoing for forever in some sense, because we always fine tune it, but it's already stable. And industrialization is the fact that as simple as you download an app on the App Store, you will be able to download let's say an app for Archethic node, unpack it, unzip it, install it, like if it was an application. Totally. And then you can run the node without having to know any line of codes, basically.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And then we have the minor deployment, which is a link with the industrialization. So actually, there is not a lot of nodes on the network. There is only, I think, 20 nodes, and some are shut down. But why we don't increase the number of nodes is because actually there is no need today to improve the number of nodes because we are still on stabilization. So even with few nodes, we have some stabilization issues. So increasing the number of nodes will be just like too much work for now. But at the end of Q2, the stabilization industrialization, will be finished. So we will extend the number of nodes to achieve, I hope, 50 nodes on the network. So we will have a better decentralization. The network will be also faster because you can query a node which are really near to you because there will be more nodes over the world. So yeah, that's the good point. And also increasing the number of nodes will increase the security because the data will not be stored only on few nodes, but on many nodes over the world. So it will be more complex to hack the system, let's say. Another point is the Yubikey integration. So as Sam explained just before, the Yubikey is a kind of identification key. And this is needed for the network because when a node connects, rejoin the network, this node need to be uniquely identified because of the consensus system and mainly the proof of work. So you have to prove that you have a certified key, and Yubikey provides this mechanism. So let's say you have a Yubikey, you connect it to your computer, you join the network, but you are a malicious node. You want to do malicious thing. You send the wrong information. The network will be able to understand that you are a malicious node, and then it will remove your key from the system, and so your node will be banned, and you will not be able to do again malicious thing, and you will not be part of the network anymore. And so if the malicious person behind this node wants to have another node, it will need to buy another Yubikey. So in some sense, this provide more security and more knowledge of the network because yeah, the consensus. And the last thing in the blockchain part is the playground smart contract. So actually, it's not published yet, but the playground smart contract, the idea is you have a beautiful interface to write and test your smart contract code. So because on the first quarter we had a lot of rework of the smart contract, this is not yet finished and yet public, but this is actually in progress. And to provide a better experience, we will have to rebrand also the code editor because it's a bit actually let's say for technical guys. And so we'll try to improve the UI so anybody can easily write smart contract, test smart contract, and deploy smart contract into Archethic network.
So the playground will be a bit like a Visual Studio Code or Atom or like places the way you can just test out everything that you need to test out about the smart contracts.
Yeah, the equivalent product on for Ethereum is it's called Remix, I think.
Remix,
it's
okay.
an editor. Yeah, you can just go on web on your browser, tap Remix, and you have a complete IDE where you can compile your Solidity code and test your smart contract.
Yeah, this is key because you definitely need that before deploying the DApps. So all the community of builders will strongly appreciate it. It's basically will mark the beginning of the building era, if I may say, on Archethic.
And so I think there is also a question about the playground. So someone asked if a non-tech guy will be able to create smart contract. So this is also a goal of Archethic because Archethic want to provide the everything for tech people, but also for non-tech people. And so the idea behind the playground. The first release will be you will still have to code and write instruction to develop your smart contract, but after we will provide a kind of a drag and drop util, and you will take block of instruction, you will put it and relay the block with arrow and doing some algorithm, but without coding and writing code itself, but it will just be drag and drop some blocks, and that will permit to build the smart contract.
The end goal is mass adoption. So in the end, anybody anywhere in the world could just plug in, connect, and do drag and drop and create an application if they see a pain point in any industries. But that's end of the line, right? First, Playground Smart Contract will be dedicated to people that knows how to code, and then we're going to switch slowly but surely to the no-code version.
Yeah, that's it. We need to go step by step. Cannot do everything inside. So for the blockchain part, I think it's gone. And for the wallet, so actually the wallet, when you install it on your desktop, on your computer, you have the same interface as there is on the wallet on the mobile version. But because it's on the desktop application, we may have a better UI because we are using a mouse and a keyboard, and it's not tactile or things. So the UI will be upgraded for the desktop version. So this will be better to use on your computer. And also the web version, actually it's only the application, but you will be able to use the wallet directly on the browser if you need to. And this wallet will be also directly uploaded through our web. So we are using our self product. That's good. And then the Transact deployment, but I think you already talked about it at the beginning of the discussion.
Yes, I talked about it, about the Transact deployment being on the website, and this deployment will be on the wallet. So basically, we want to give the ability to users to buy with credit card UCO from any points that they are connecting with the project. So I was saying Q3 in my explanation a bit before, because to buy native UCO. But that's integration in the wallet in Q2 anyway. This is related.
Yeah, of course. So I think we can continue to Q3.
Okay, so guys, just bear with us right now, because we are deep diving into every item, giving the best explanation and a good vulgarization of the tech behind those items, because we are lucky enough to have today Julien and Samuel with us. Know that all the content is recorded, and then we're going to put it in YouTube, and we're going to cut each section with each subject, so the community is going to be able to navigate and just go back and see, okay, this item seems interesting to me. What did they say about it? I just go check on the video, and I'm able to have a better understanding of this item. So looking at the time, we're going for a long time. No worries, we're there. We're not going anywhere. And I think it's a long overdue explanation of all that, the amazing job that the tech team is doing for any curious mind that want to deep dive into Archethic's improvement accomplishments. So also, you see that right now we had a lot of blockchain items and wallet items in the Q1 and the Q2. The more that you go, the more that you see that those items are reducing. And the why behind that is that because in time, the improvement that will be needed for the blockchain to be implemented will reduce in terms of amount, because basically once you have a working product, then you fine tune it along the year, but the core functionalities have been implemented already. And those core functionalities are the one that you are seeing right now that have been just explained by Samuel and Julien. So that's why you see a big blockchain topics in the beginning of the year, and going into the year with less and less blockchain topics in the roadmap. So let's switch to Q3 right now about the ecosystem. So I was talking about the partnerships in Q2. So this is the announcement of who are going to do what on our ecosystem. So in terms of the bridge multi-asset, this will be the moment it will be deployed. It will be the moment that we're going to open Archethic infrastructure to the world. So people is going to be able to bridge value and retrieve value from Archethic layer 1. So this will be the deployment of the bridge multi-asset. It will also be the deployment of the DEX. And this is a question we have a lot since a long time, a deployment of the staking. So it's important to state the fact that we don't want to do a single asset staking. And this is also the reason why we didn't do staking so far. We could do staking, do it with a centralized exchange, or do it with some partners, just put a pool and put UCO in rewards, and people would stake. But a single asset staking, so saying you stake only UCO and you get UCO back, is, we think, detrimental to the UCO value and to the UCO ecosystem, because we don't want to do a dilution of the price. We don't want to increase the number of UCO in circulation just because people are staking. It needs to have a stronger utility than just a temporary sell pressure relief, if I may say. So in this staking, and why do you see it next to the DEX, is because we're going to implement LP staking within the DEX. And that's why also the DEX needs to be a partner. That's why it's in the partnerships in Q2 before. Because on the DEX, we're going to have liquidity pool, which is a pool where you bring UCO and Ethereum, let's say. And when you bring liquidity to this pool, you get a LP, which is basically the proof that you put, let's say, 10K of UCO and 10K of Ethereum into the pool. This is the proof. And then you're going to be able to stake that LP and get UCO that rewards you for having put liquidity into the pool. And this is addressing a big issue that we have since a long time, which is the liquidity. In doing that, by doing such a staking, by doing a LP staking, we're going to solve the liquidity issue that we have today on UCO, which means that basically we did it already. For some of you that were here, we did a liquidity mining program on QuickSwap back in the days with the syrup pools. And basically in, I think it was 3 months of time, we reached a peak of 1.4 millions in terms of liquidity. So we know it works, we know it's there, but for us, it will really have utility for the ecosystem when it will be on the native DEX, which will be deployed in Q3 2023. And then we're going to allocate all the staking that you have in the tokenomics, the economics, basically, linked with these LP that being staked and getting rewards UCOs. So Q3, bridge multi-asset, DEX, staking. Then we also have a hackathon and potentially a sex listing. So hackathon, which means that we need to address some use case that we want to reward, and we want the community to compete and strive to create the best use case solutions. And this is also linked because we will probably do it in the Indian market, because there is a huge community of talented people and talented builders and developers that we want to attract in our ecosystem. So this will be linked most probably to the Indian marketing strategy, but also the Indian tech strategy, because it links both worlds, if I may say. And the centralized exchange listing. So this is an item that we've been postponing because basically, and I explain it in the telegrams and we explain it over all the socials, the centralized exchanges are making money when they have new users depositing funds and when they have volume. So they want a project that has a thick liquidity, that has a big volume, and that has a good hype. And the liquidity, so right now we had some opportunities and we could have been paying, let's say 500,000 to list on KuCoin or like 2 or 3 millions to list on Binance, because those are the kind of prices that you have to pay to enter these kind of exchanges. So it could be an option that we considered regarding what are the priorities. And as you know, we decided, and as explained in the socials, we decided to postpone this item to Q3 right now. Why? Because right now we don't have the liquidity and we don't have the volume, and we're slowly building the hype, which means that we have a very high cost of entry to access those centralized exchanges. If we wait Q3 and the DEX, people are going to bridge assets to Archethic ecosystem. They're going to list their tokens on the DEX, which will create volume. So we'll have organic volume within the ecosystem, one of the 3 pain points addressed. We'll have people staking their UCO and Ethereum, let's say, to have LPs and get rewards of the staking. So the liquidity is going to increase. So that's the third point that will be addressed. And then we'll have the hype, which will be at all-time high, if I may say, because the moment that you open such ecosystem to the world is the moment that the ecosystem really thrives, because everybody wants to create a meme coin. Everybody wants to recreate the use case that worked on other blockchain to just develop the same use case or innovative use case on the new blockchain, because there is a market share to take and people want to, make money and create DApps and create use cases. And added to that, we will have also innovative use cases. But this will be what will actually generate this crazy hype that we can see around ecosystem launches. We saw it with ZK Sync, we saw it with Arbitrum, we're going to see it with Shibarium. The level of intensity, the level of traffic, the level of craziness that you get from Web3 communities when you're on the brink of an ecosystem launching. And if it's a good layer 1 ecosystem launching, the hype is even higher. This is why when we have that, so the hype, the liquidity, and the volume, all organically, we're going to be able to list on the top centralized exchanges without having to pay to win, basically, to just like not focus the priority on developing the project, but put the project at risk and focus on the short-term listing on an exchange that won't solve any of the issues I just stated. So that's an explanation that was already communicated in the socials, but it's always important to explain and remember to the community so you guys understand why we make those choices and what is the justification, the thought thinking behind those choices. So that's that for the ecosystem part. If we switch back to the blockchain part, I will give it over to you, Samuel or Julien.
Yeah, sure. In terms of blockchain, there is one really big important things to do, which is even mentioned in bold. So it's about malicious detection algorithm. So along the roadmap, you might see there is some item which are flagged as R&D. R&D doesn't mean that particularly we are only trying to deal with it at this given point of time. Something which is coming along the way. And so at this given point of time, it will be a moment where it will be really in more industrialization and real world testing, kind of. So at this given item, let's say malicious detection, which is a really important key for the Q4 plan, which is that we'll discuss after maybe about the mining opening to anyone in that sense. And to do so, we have to work on some items to make sure, like, if there is some inconsistency inside the network, if we have some node which are saying something which is completely different from others, let's say, we have to distinguish what is the truth out of it. And for this kind of solution or mechanism, there is an already existing algorithm which is into phase of fine tuning, and will be soon start to be in the implementation, and at this point, it will help to achieve also what Julian mentioned before about the Yubikey, to make sure, like, if a node is acting as malicious, it will be banned. So right now we have the atomic commitment, which is working. So we think, like, to validate a transaction, the entire validation node have to be agreed on something. So this is working. The only thing that there is not right now is the banishment of node if something is wrong happens. And for that, we have to distinguish between real malicious activity or some fault which might happen along the time based on, I don't know, network failure or network synchronization, latency, this kind of stuff. And so this is really a key point into blockchain. So as mentioned, there is not really much item, because as mentioned also, we are stabilizing everything up to this time, but there is also some more major points that also might take more time in, because once it is out, it's kind of algorithm, we need to be 100% sure it works, because it might have also some effect, because it will be kind of one of the first protocol to really ban a node based on consensus, based on the activity into the network, let's say. The other aspect, it's also one part which was mentioned in the white paper, if I remember well, which was about stock and marketplace. So this come from an idea of Sebastian's, the CEO. So it was something to be able to build on-chain marketplace and to expose the things that you can stock or sell within the transaction itself. And so we will provide an AEIP at this given point of time to describe how the flow is working in terms of integration for the blockchain, also in terms of integration for the client, for the SDK, for the wallet, for the application that wants to deal with this kind of capability. So imagine, like, you want to expose that you want to sell some t-shirts, let's say, and you want to say, like, I want to sell this different size with this different colors, with this different kind of vouchers, let's say. And so this you will be able to do within a transaction, and act as a store of assets that you want to sell. So it can be physical stuff, it could be digital assets as well, and this is something that will bring even more community web decentralization, and what's called in other paper decentralized society, kind of. So sorry. So in terms of terms of blockchain item. This is the key point, let's say. And as we talked a bit before about the FIDO2 and WebAuthN, so it will be now an integration within the wallet to be able to connect right away into websites that you well know. So.
No, but so you were talking about R&D malicious detection algorithm. So the fact that you're able to ban a node when he's malicious autonomously on chain by the network, and this is linked with the next point in Q4, which is Archethic mining open to the public. So we had this question before. Yes, anybody will be able to become a miner at one point, depending of the criteria that will be defined by the network itself. And for us to be able to open the mining to the public, we need the implementation of this malicious detection algorithm in Q3. So that's for Q4. The mining open to the public, so end of the year. And Easter egg launch, it's for those that don't know, is like a hunt with like secrets and rewards, a treasure hunt, if I may say. We've seen that in many underground protocols and also the CryptoPunk community. In the sense that it's a way to gather and motivate the community to search and expose many aspects of a project. So that would be what would be dedicated and accomplished in Q4. And then in terms of blockchain, I give it back to you, Samuel.
So in terms of blockchain Q4, like you mentioned, mining opening to anyone. So this is one key feature, but along with this big milestone, let's say, we have also some new things. We have something which was described in the yellow paper, which is a bit technical paper, but which called the prediction module. So right now, all these things about malicious detection, improvement of the network, and listing of nodes, improve the accuracy and the distribution of the data. All this kind of stuff was described like what we call in the field the heuristic algorithm. So it means like it is the algorithm which fits the best at the time about what we are thinking and try to achieve it in the most efficient way as we can. But we want to bring this to another level. So now it's really trend way about IA with ChatGPT and so on. And since the writing of the yellow paper, we were thinking also in this way also to bring the kind of modeling to be able to predict some anomalies, some fault that the network could have based on some events. And this kind of events would be integrated into the blockchain and decentralized in a decentralized way to act with countermeasure to say if something happens and if we determine some patterns which led maybe before to some problem, to be able to repair itself and to predict something based on some criteria. So this is yeah.
So let's give an example here. So it's like if we consider that the network is conscious, and basically the network sees that via the oracles, he sees that a big storm is coming, a hurricane is coming over Australia, let's say. And so the network autonomously, without any human interaction, is going to be able to predict that he will have to take the data of the nodes in this location and do an efficient redistribution or sharding, in the sense that he will be able to anticipate the fact that all the nodes in this area will be down for that much of time. And all of this without any human interaction and in a decentralized way. It's like if you had an AI, basically, because you were citing ChatGPT, an AI governing the stability of the network in that sense.
Yeah, sure. So yes, there is this kind of part, of course, based on events which are coming, let's say, outside of the network, let's say. But there is also events which is internals. If you determine in the past some pattern of, let's say, unavailability or not responsiveness of nodes, this kind of stuff, we'll be able to predict something based on a model trained from historical data, and at that point predict even it happens. You see, it's kind of this kind of logic also can be seen into this this module, let's say.
Okay, I feel like this is such a vast, deep subject that
Sure.
we could go for hours for sure. But okay, let's stay in surface in that subject
Sure.
because it's a bit far away. But yeah, linked with all the news about AI and like the innovation that we're seeing right now, the range of things that we're going to be able with these prediction models is even beyond what we thought was possible in the first place. So yes, please continue.
Yeah, sure. Another part that I wanted to talk about, it's because community is often talking about that. It's about the ledger integration. So why we mentioned dev mode into the roadmap. So for you to know, like Archethic started to deploy, request deployment into Ledger App Store for more than a year. There is some, let's say, inconvenience with Ledger right now in terms of submission and application approval, which makes the process slower. So in that sense, we're still working on it, still wishing to have this kind of integration, because it is really a great thing in terms of security of the assets. And we wanted also to extend it even more than what the actual Nano application are doing by using your keychain inside the ledger. So which means like the data your wallet will be decrypted inside. It will be act as a biometric device. So nothing will leak outside of the hardware. But for this kind of implementation and so on, and to be completely available to the public, there is a really specific procedure from Ledger to approve that. And so we are looking forward to make this process faster, also in some sense, to make this adoption even better. But in the meantime, we will be able also to propose a development mode installation for the early adopter which wants to leverage the application before to be publicly available on the Ledger App Store. Let's say.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's been a long way and still be a long way, but like the processes at Ledger are a bit complicated, even if we know people there. Pascal Gauthier, if I'm not mistaken, is French, and we had connection also. You cannot burn the steps. So in that sense, it's a long shot, but it will eventually be one at one point.
Sure. For the next items, I think Julian, you can take lead on this one.
Yeah, I can. So maybe following the example of Victor about the storm that may interrupt the node on a specific part of the world, the blockchain needs to know if there will be a storm. So to be able to bring outside information, real world information into the blockchain, we need Oracle. And the major improvement also of Archethic is that the Oracle are integrated inside Archethic itself. It's not like another chain for Chainlink, for example, which is other node that are bringing information from the outside the world and then commit them into the blockchain. It's directly the blockchain itself that fetch the information. And so in that sense, we will need to add new services for the Oracle. So let's say a weather services to have maybe some prediction about the shutdown of the node, but maybe other DApps can use those Oracle in the chain. We can also have, let's say, you can the Oracle can fetch data from other blockchains. And this means that you do something on Ethereum, and this something can be catched by Archethic, and then you can have action on Archethic side based on what happens on Ethereum. So it can be leveraged to do a breach, for example. You locked a token on Ethereum, and then Archethic Oracle will catch that there is a new token locked in a, let's say, specific smart contract. And then you can have another smart contract that will be triggered by the new Oracle data that will create your token on Archethic. So the Oracle, because they are done on-chain, can provide a lot of utility, and we will need to add new services. It will also depend on what the community need, because it's not only us that decide what we put inside the Oracle. It's also the community. If the community needs to have, I don't know, for example, an Oracle that catch the result of a sports competition, that maybe we will provide it. So it's the new services will be also community driven.
So at this point, guys, it's important to understand that the blockchain is almost alive in the sense that it will be fully decentralized around the world, running in a decentralized manner, and it will be connected to the whole world, including the Web3 ecosystem. So we're talking about full interoperability, autonomous interoperability with the world which is Web 2 and with the world which is Web 3.
That's it, yeah. So that will be a big part of Archethic that it can connect to other blockchain, but also to the real world using those Oracle which are on chain. It's important to precisely that the Oracle are on chain and are part of the consensus of Archethic. So there is no way to have wrong issue, wrong data inside the Oracle.
You are right. This is important to underline because like the way it is working right now within a blockchain can only access the data which is in the blockchain. And basically what we are seeing for Ethereum to gather like the prices of let's say stocks, basically they use external oracle such as Chainlink, for example, that will actually take the data from the external world and bring it on the blockchain. But Chainlink then is not fully decentralized because it is run by humans and created by humans. Here, what we developed here is basically on-chain oracles. So the blockchain, within the blockchain, you will be able to access the entirety of the whole web in a decentralized manner. So in terms of use cases, this is just crazy, and this is why we will need to add new services and many, if I may say.
Yeah, that's it. And then the last point, which is AML. So AML is also one of the big projects for Archethic, because Archethic, the goal of Archethic is to provide security of your information, of your data, and the actual mail are not very secured because you are sharing like attachment inside the mail, and those attachments may be private information, medical information, or banking information, and you don't want this attached file to be read by other people, or maybe the content of the mail itself. And so IMA will provide a security layer because it will use your verifiable credential, so we know who is owning a mail, and we can trust it. So there will be less, let's say, spam attacks. So you may have some configuration. Let's say that you want to receive only mail from verified people, and so nobody can send you spam, because if they are verified, we know who is behind the spam. So they can do, of course, but they will have problem, I hope. So why mail also it's in blockchain part is because we have to have some technical background inside the blockchain itself to handle mail, mainly for the storage part of all the data transmitted by mail, because we cannot, of course, store the large amount of a file inside the blockchain. So this is something that is not written in the roadmap, but it's under reflection and under specification, which is the name is AEFS. It's kind of IPFS. So if you know IPFS, it's a decentralized storage network, but these have some issue. For example, if you fetch a data from IPFS, it will take a lot of time because the network doesn't know really who is storing the data. There is also a possibility to lose the data that you stored on IPFS. So we are taking idea of this model and transfer it into the blockchain itself. So there will be new nodes that the goal of this node will be to store a lot of a big amount of data, and this will provide more security about the data and will not corrupt or not corrupt is not a good word, but not have trouble with the rest of the blockchain, which is the transaction with the financial value. So there will be two kind of node, but all this node will be inside the same blockchain. So we are thinking about it, and it's a kind of requirement for email. So this is why it's in the blockchain part.
So it means, if I resume a little bit, it means that by the end of the year, so in 9 months, we're gonna have a fully functional blockchain, decentralized around the world, where anybody can compete and apply and become a miner, where you will have a full functional ecosystem where you can bridge value in and out, where you can interact with many different apps, create tokens, create NFT, sell them, buy them. A blockchain that will be interoperable with not only the Web 2, but also the Web 3. So from within the blockchain, you will be able to access to the whole world in terms of interoperability. And after that, we are looking at 2024. And in 2024, with this full functional blockchain, we're gonna focus on the ways to access it. And the ways to access it, as you guys already know, is the biometrics. So there is we want to provide to the people that use our application and to the builders different levels of security. So for example, if you want to use an app and send, let's say, $50, maybe you don't want to have a biometric identification every time you send $50. But if you send 1 million, maybe you do require the strongest type of identification, which will be the biometrics. So what we are doing is enabling builders to give a level of security, which can be from a simple password or no password at all, to the highest level of identification, which is the biometric that will be implemented. And we have many ways of identification through biometrics, maybe facial recognition, maybe the finger intravenous network, maybe a ring around the fingers. So that I won't go into details, but that item is the focus on the access to this fully functional decentralized live blockchain in 2024. And by that time, we'll be able to also have a DApp incubator, which means that the items, the projects that we believe are really groundbreaking, really bringing innovative disruption to the ecosystem, are going to be able to have grants and have funding and have incubation within the incubator of Archethic. As you can see in other well-developed blockchain, you have in Ethereum, you have the same, in Polygon, you have the grants also in Avalanche. So it's a common model to bootstrap the real innovators from within each ecosystems. Back to the wallet, maybe, to end up with the roadmap.
Yep. And there is also a question on the AMA about the multi-chain interoperability. So multi-chain interoperability, the aim of having a wallet that can connect to multiple chains is that inside one application, you can manage either Archethic things, your tokens, your maybe your DApps, etc., and also the ones you have on other blockchains. So the question from the owner was that will it be possible to manage all your crypto inside the wallet? So in sense, yes, but not maybe all, because it will be only the token or the crypto you have on the connected blockchain. So if we bring Ethereum, Polygon, Arbitrum, you will be able to manage your crypto from this chain, but not Avalanche if it's not provided. So all, yeah, but all of the connected network. But the main focus of the wallet will stay on Archethic. So the wallet may have some application or the apps integrated in the wallet. Let's say DEX or maybe Bridge. But for the other chain, I think this is less important to bring also the apps on the other chain network, because you have, again, a lot of applications that already do it for other chain. So bringing all the chain inside the wallet will be easier to use Archethic and interoperate with other chain, but the focus may be on Archethic again.
Yeah, so from U-Wallet, you will be able to interact with all the connected chain, basically. And it means that if we connect the EVM chains, then we have all the EVM chains, saying Ethereum, Avalanche, Polygon, etc. And we're going to have to add one by one the one that are unique in the terms of functionment. But this is the key to interoperability in the Web3. This is what Polkadot is trying to achieve, for example. Like this is the main goal of Polkadot. This is the reason of existing of Polkadot, for example. And this will be integrated and be addressed in 2024 through the wallet, which will be one portal to the whole crypto ecosystem that is connected to Archethic.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, since the beginning of the wallet implementation, the keychain, the decentralized identity was taken. So yeah, as you mentioned, Victoria, it is like Archethic might become the identification hub. This is for different kind of protocols. So you might, of course, as mentioned, James, the goal is still to leverage Archethic as much as we can, but you could use also Archethic as a authentication layer for all your DApps at some point, as long as the integration with other chains are security.
Yeah, it's your UDID, it's your decentralized identity, and within the wallet, then you connect anywhere, everywhere from anyone. if it's connected, of course. But that will make sure to onboard the maximum of chains and the maximum of interfaces to bootstrap the network, obviously. And last point, mobile node management.
Yeah. So there is few things that we discussed before, and particularly for the AMA, we were talking about AEFS, so where we would have some specific nodes which will store big data, let's say. But the idea also is to bring another level of nodes, which might be considered as light nodes, as there is on Bitcoin or Ethereum, in such a way like mobile phone could be used as validators of transaction, and of course be rewarded. And at this given point, because we would have specific nodes to store more big data, the validation nodes by themselves, they would not require so much of hardware capacity. So in that sense, mobile node can be implemented and can be and might be supported on Android and iOS to bring even more decentralization and adoption in terms of security, because now we'll have much more nodes which will validate information. And so this brings even decentralization in terms of geographical distribution, because smartphones are everywhere.
No, but this is the key to address storage on blockchain, basically, and this is a huge challenge that any blockchain tried to address, but that is a bit complicated because the load of data is gigantic. And so this would be a way to have an alternative decentralized storage system as IPFS, but AEPFS, so the storage system of Archethic, leveraging these kind of nodes to store like gigantic amounts of data.
Yeah, sure. And because our way that Archethic is mining and validating transaction is kind of, let's say, unique, but really particular regarding other blockchains. So mobile phone would have the capability to validate without having needs to store a lot of data. So just because we are requesting data from other nodes in a real distributed way, we can achieve this great capability to have smartphone validators.
I see. Well, guys, thank you very much for this whole detailed walkthrough that we've been doing. I want to say congratulations for the hardcore tech and not tech believers that we still have with us right now. As I said, all this content will be pushed and cut in specific sections for anybody to navigate to the part that they want to see. But this gives an overall detailed explanation and view of what has been done and where we are going right now. And we can see that in 1 year of time, we'll have a fully functional product that will be completely disruptive, even right now with the actual market, knowing that we've been developing for now 7 years. So this is exciting.